I'm gonna email him, but I don't think he's likely to be joining us even on an irregular basis.
How old is your
Very
son?
much. Nice.
So he's legal.
I can't remember if I have one of those around.
Juno.
I have the ring.
Come here, Juno.
I don't know if I have the icon die.
Yeah, I got the icon die, and my fiance actually wears the ring. It's not the one
Oh yeah, I do have the
I
icon die.
proposed to her with, but she likes to wear it.
Yeah, I got it with the 13 True Ways dice.
Yeah.
Which is still in the bag because I don't get to roll actual dice very often.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this icon die, but I have it. So that's cool.
I'm hoping to use it. Well, anyway, we'll discuss that in the after show, because now we're on air and people actually might be watching. If not now, then later on YouTube. Okay, so let's do this properly. And just in case everybody hasn't been paying attention, let's have everybody go around and introduce your character. You don't need to go into a lot of details on it, but your name and that name, race, class, any other significant details you think are worth bringing up. Let's start. Who do we want to start with? Let's start with Brittany.
Okay.
And we'll go that direction.
Alright, so, well, I'm playing Bree Nolkrin, and I am a pixie fighter who happens to ride the most awesome Corgi of Doom ever.
Okay. Thanks for getting that 20 out of the way. I appreciate it. Alright, Eddie, you're next.
I am playing Morn, most often referred to as with his Dark Lantern codename Wraith. I am a changeling soul blade, and I am a full-time born and bred resident of Breland and Sharn, living in the Sunrise District.
Okay. Let's see, who's next? Lloyd, you're up next.
Okay. I am playing Juan de Amsel. I am a human mind weaver who is a native of these parts. Grew up not distant from the Red Cliff Bay. I enjoy a kind of well-financed life, partially because of my military career and partially because I sell a specialty item to wealthy individuals. So I do the job that we currently do more because I am a patriot than because I need the money.
Okay, that sounds good. Justin, you're up next.
All right, Cord Faldrin. He's a human artificer. One note is if everyone will notice that once he has come back and once we meet up, that he no longer has a normal hand. He has a gigantic war hand, a big mighty gauntlet going from his elbow to his fist. And he's also now wearing a heavy armor. He decided that he was too much of a wuss on that last little go-around, and he ain't going to take it anymore.
All right, that sounds good. And last but not least, Brandy, you're up.
I am playing Gemma Beth Grandine. Gemma to her friends, but you will quickly know if you're a friend or not when she corrects you. Gemma is a gnome druid shapeshifter who also is a healer. She is in the prime of her adulthood at 85, which is at prime of adulthood for a gnome, and she lives to learn in general, but mostly about people. She's fascinated with learning and discovering about people and knowing people and getting to know people and determining who they are and why they do what they do. And he's very curious and very friendly and very open.
Okay. All right. So the day opens. You're going about your morning business at your house, taking a bath, eating breakfast, whatever you happen to do at your particular domicile. When there is a knock on the door for each of you. When you open the door, you see that it's a House Civis messenger. Civis. And they often are used as couriers, message deliverers. They're, to some extent, an unofficial postal service in a lot of ways. And you are each given a sealed envelope. It's the envelope is sealed with red wax and a stylized lantern. This is something immediately recognizable to each of you. You recognize this comes from the Dark Lanterns, and you know that the magic in the seal, it'll burn the envelope if it's not broken by somebody who says the password at the same time. This is all fairly routine stuff that you've done several times since you've joined the Lanterns. So you open up the letter saying the password at the same time. It's second nature at this point, and you are shown a letter. And you will see the letter in the journal section of Roll20. So if you'll read that, I'll read it out loud, but you guys can read it and follow along. It says, "My dear friend, it's been too long since we have seen one another. Work has kept me busy, but I have an opening in my schedule, and I've invited you and some mutual friends to share a meal with me. We'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure. How about we meet up at a particular cafe at noon or so? I can't wait to see you. Your friend V." And as innocuous as this seems to somebody who like you, who's in the Dark Lanterns, it has a lot more information. It references your hiatus from the official work. It's the mutual friends are indicated by the other members of the team, and more importantly, the cafe name is completely unimportant. It's a made-up name. What it actually is a code word to meet up at a particular tower, and that is the Northern Landing, excuse me, in the Ivory Towers neighborhood. Even though the letter says noon, the phrase "I can't wait to see you" indicates that you actually need to be there in an hour. And your friend V is signed in a different colored ink, which means that you need to be careful and ensure that you are not followed or observed before arriving. So, do you want to just head over, or do you want to do something else before then?
I received this while I'm at my shop.
Yes.
So I tell my shopkeep to mind the shop while I'm away, and head out.
Okay. What about everybody else? Are you going to head to the door?
I received this while I'm in the library. I very reluctantly close, after noting in my notepad what page of the book I am on and what book I am currently in, close the book and reshelve it, grab a slice of bread on my way out the door to munch on, and head out as well.
Okay. What about everybody else?
Well, since I'm at home, I'm currently in the form of Kari Joy. So I will collect my gear, and then I will head out into the street, purposely making a move into the market district, where I'll find a nice, cozy, out-of-the-way place to duck into and take on a completely different face. And then I will go ahead and proceed to the area, keeping an eye over my shoulder.
Okay.
Cord is finishing his breakfast, gets all the information, just grabs a couple of trinkets, stuffs it in his bag, just things that he can work on. Gets a cloak, covers his war hand as much as the normals would. As long as nobody's really paying attention, he'll be fine, and heads out.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So it doesn't take you guys too long to get to this place. If you look on Roll20, if you go to the lower right-hand corner and look for my token, that's where you're at. The Ivory Tower district. It's one of the higher districts. It's in the upper city. So it's pretty well-to-do area. Even if this is not the best neighborhood within the upper city, it's still generally better than your average district in Sharn. You find yourself at the northern landing. There is a gate that goes up the side and some stairs that go up the side of the tower. You have enough experience as a Dark Lantern to pick out that there are guards basically all over the place, hidden in plain sight. Most of them are hidden as beggars. Some of them are just hidden, are disguised as merchants, basically like the equivalent of the hot dog stand worker, that sort of thing. But yeah, they're all around. This tower is basically owned by the Dark Lanterns under an assumed name, and it's typically meant for the more secretive meetings, the ones where you're sure that nobody can possibly overhear the conversation that's going on. So you all trickle in over the course of about 5 minutes. The gate swings open for you as you approach, and you head up the stairs to what is basically a small garden on the outside of the tower. In the center of the garden, there's a large table with a number of chairs, and there is a gnome woman at the head of the table, eating from the relatively wide variety of breakfast foods sitting on the table. As she sees each of you come in, she gestures you for you to take a seat, but she doesn't say anything beyond that until you've all arrived. This is Meliana Irvilen. This is your boss, basically. She is Captain Irvilen of the King's Dark Lanterns.
I'm sorry, Aaron, can I get a spelling? I'm trying to take notes. Typically, Cato was our note taker. I'm trying to step in for him on that.
He's under the NPCs on the wiki, just in case. But yes, this is Captain Irvilen. She's your boss. Publicly, she's kind of a ditz. You guys all know better than to assume that about her. She looks like just another pretty face. She's not. And once you've all arrived, she takes a last bite of her tart, brushes off her hands, and reaches down into a bag at her side and pulls out what appears to be a picture. And she puts it on the table and says, "You eat, I'll talk, and when I'm done talking, I'll answer your questions." This is Lucan Stellos.
Who?
Lucan Stellos. You'll find the picture under the handouts. Lucan is a member of the King's Swords, or I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Lucan specialized in counterintelligence work. He was one of the Sword's best agents. He basically searched for threats before they could become a problem. A more proactive approach to protecting the sorts of people that the King's Swords deal with. As such, he stumbled upon our operations more than a few times, to the point where he was made an unofficial liaison between the Swords and the Lanterns here in Sharn. 2 weeks ago, Lucan disappeared. This was, to my understanding, not an uncommon occurrence. He would occasionally go undercover for purposes of uncovering a threat. What is unusual is that 2 nights ago, Lucan appeared at a secret storage facility that we run cooperatively with the other parts of the Citadel. This storage facility was largely for unknown magical items or items of an unusual nature. They would be studied here and then either sold, destroyed, or made available in the armory. 2 nights ago, Lucan forced his way into this facility, killed several members of the Citadel, forced another one to open the vault, and stole several items from the vault before fleeing. To my knowledge, Lucan has ever been a faithful agent of the Citadel, but he has clearly gone rogue, or at the very least crossed a line in his activities. This morning, very early this morning, we set out to find his sister, and in so doing, hopefully find him, but she's disappeared as well. And we received reports that a woman with her description fled from Sharn in a coach early this morning. We assume that Lucan is with her. Going from his personal effects, it appears that he's heading to Trollenport in Zalargo to deal with something or someone called Krell. We don't know who or what this is, but this is where you come in. We need you to hunt down and, if possible, capture Lucan and reclaim the items that he has taken. We don't know Trollenport in Zalargo. We don't know why he took these particular items. We don't know why he went to this storage facility at all. But if possible, we would like the items recovered as well. Beyond that, unfortunately, he's been in the game far too long, and we don't have a lot of other information.
Do we have a list of what was taken?
Yes, we do. And she pulls out a sheet of parchment and hands it around to you. That is also under the handouts. But to sum up, there's a ring, a glove of storing, a broadsword taken from a Carnathi saboteur, a silver necklace, a rose, a sheaf of forged traveling papers, and a leather-bound book.
Apologies, where's the handouts?
Go to the journals part
Okay.
of Roll20,
Got it.
and it's right there. So you should see the sketch of Lucan and the storeroom theft handout now. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Barring the possibility of capture, is his execution an option?
If you have to kill him, kill him. I would prefer, everybody in the Citadel would prefer that you capture him, because we have no idea why he did this. He's had many, arguably better opportunities to betray the Citadel and Mournland over the years. So why he chose to do this now is of utmost concern to us, especially since at the moment we don't know if he's turned anybody else within the Citadel or within any of Mournland's government as well. This is part of the reason that we've chosen to send you on this particular mission. Right now, things are in turmoil. We don't know who to trust. Everybody is being investigated. There is a great deal of confusion. However, you've been out of the game for a while. We are reasonably certain. Well, I'm perfectly certain. Others are not quite as certain of your loyalties in this manner. You've never worked with Lucan, and you've, to my knowledge, have never even had any contact with him, which is enough for me to assume that you have nothing to do with him. But you've been out of the game long enough that I feel that you are the best opportunity for this. Nobody on your team is going to betray us or Mournland, and that's why you're being sent.
Do we know anything about his most recent mission?
We do not. He's generally been very good about taking notes, but before we were even aware that he'd turned, he destroyed most of his notes and most of the information that we had about what he was doing. Again, the only bit of information we've managed to pull up is Troll and Port and Krell, and we don't have any context for what that means. They seem to be written in the last few days, but that's all we know.
Based on his general career, did he have a specialty for counterintelligence, a specialty for a nation, I mean, or was he a general counterintelligence agent that would serve to root out any nation's agents?
He was specifically tasked towards finding threats to the people and facilities that the Swords guard, regardless of their nation or organization of origin. It didn't matter whether they were from Sire or Thrain or anything else. He was focused on keeping those threats away.
Do we know if he has any associates that he worked closely with within the past 6 months?
He's worked with the Swords in general. He's worked with several Lantern agents as well. We've pulled as many of those as possible aside for questioning, but it appears that that doesn't seem to be a lead. None of them show any indication that they had any knowledge of what Lucan was doing.
Do we know if he had any friends, any particular comrades that he would spend social time with?
If he was
Some.
if he was a smart agent, he wouldn't have too many. He wouldn't have any confidants.
Most of
Maybe
his
his
friends
sister.
and associates were also members of the Citadel. So we've pulled them aside. We've talked to them. Between traditional interrogation techniques and magic, we are reasonably certain that none of them assisted him in any deliberate way.
Do we know that he's in Zilargo now, or that he was just heading that way?
We are reasonably certain that he is heading that direction. He has certainly not made it there yet.
Okay.
By coach, it's roughly 10 days to Zilargo if he takes the shortest method. And he, again, we assume that he left Sharn this morning. At this point, roughly 9 hours ago.
Do we know what kind of relationship he had with his sister?
They were very close. His sister was very dependent on him. She was a successful clothing designer for the wealthy and the nobility, but she relied a great deal on him to manage her business even. They were very close. That much we do know.
She may be the key to taking him alive.
Was she in any kind of trouble?
No, she was very well off, and there are no indications that she had any connections to crime or anything otherwise dangerous.
Does Lucan have any particular finesse, prowess, or style in combat?
That's a good question, and that's an oddity that we haven't yet figured out. Lucan was a finesse fighter. He preferred quick strikes from surprise. He was not a stand-up brawler, though if need be he could do such a thing. When he attacked the storehouse, the stories from the survivor indicate that he had a great deal more abilities than he ever showed as part of the Citadel. He appeared to tear somebody nearly in half. He shrugged off hits from weapons that would have killed any other man. It's possible that these might have been magical effects in some way. However, Lucan was never known to be a sorcerer or wizard or arcanist in any way, shape, or form. We can't rule out the idea that he might have purchased potions or magical items which would duplicate these effects, but it's still rather unusual.
I'm pretty familiar with those sort of things, though, because I construct spells basically with the artifice, so that's not too far outside of the realm of possibility on that.
No, it's definitely a possibility, but the survivors seem to indicate that it didn't seem normal. We would be more inclined to assume that it was a magical effect if some of the survivors hadn't been from the Wands, and they tend to be an expert in that sort of identification. They didn't indicate that there was any particular magical aura that indicated a potion or a spell effect.
Cord, do you think that if you got to the scene, you would be able to detect some sort of mechanical effect that they missed?
I would more than likely be able to see those sort of things. I have the ability to kind of sense those, and I mean, if there's something that was constructed, I would be able to tell.
But we need to bear in mind that we're already 9 hours behind, and we really can't invest time in a lengthy investigation.
What kind of evidence do we have that this is Lucian?
We have survivors. We have evidence. The survivors definitively identified him. When we went to investigate his apartment, there were indications that he had packed up rather abruptly to leave. It's possible that it's somebody disguised as Lucan. However, very few people would have understood where that storage facility was. We keep it. It's not. I can't say that it's hidden, but very few people know that the Citadel operates it.
Well, we can go and take a look, and I can do just a quick check to see if I notice anything, unless you guys decide that we need to get going right now.
Well, if some of you think that investigation may be prudent, then perhaps some of us go and get ready for the move, and the rest, others can go and carry out a short investigation.
I recommend that you stay together at the moment. Again, like I said, we don't know who, if anybody, has been compromised beyond Lucan here. But I feel that if you think you can discover more from investigating the scene, I would heartily recommend that you do so. I just recommend that you would do so relatively quickly. I have arranged for horses for you, or horses and a pony for you. They are down at the Greenhaven stables in Rome. What?
You said Greenhaven stables?
Greenhaven stables. They are in Roan's Gate. You just have to tell the owner that I sent you, and he will have them ready for you. When you get to Trollandport, there is an inn called the Bloody Badger. The owner is known to us, and he will keep he can be trusted to keep his mouth shut. That being said, I don't recommend you go blabbing about anything that you know anyway. If we find out anything more here, in between when you leaving and you arriving in Trollandport, I will have the message sent to the Bloody Badger.
Is it possible that I can have Lucan's two closest, his closest friend and his closest work associate, or two closest friends and work associates, if they happen to be the same people, meet us at the Bloody Badger so that I can interrogate them briefly?
This is Trollandport.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Bloody Badger is in Trollandport.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, I meant
The stable?
I meant the stable, or possibly at the site where the storage.
I would rather not send them to the site. I can have them meet you at the stables. However, I am aware of your special abilities. I'm not sure that it will be of benefit, but again, if you think you can pull out anything extra, I'm willing to do that.
I just want to be able to get a better handle on the type of person that he was, not necessarily. I want to get a broader spectrum of who we're dealing with.
All right, that's fair. I will have them meet you there. How long do you think it will take you, Cord, to conduct your investigation? You're muted.
Yeah. How big is the area in terms? Because I can kind of, using my when you need thing, I can kind of listen to see if there's any electronic, I guess, signatures would be the best way to put it. And it's just there's anything that there is worth searching. I would probably say maybe an hour. To look through.
All right. I will have them meet you there at the stables in 2 hours. That'll give you time to conduct your investigation and get over to the stables. But I need you on the road as soon as possible. At this point, you're already 9 hours behind, and it's going to be a stern chases along chase. If you can catch him before he reaches Trollandport, all the better. If you have to reach, if you get to Trollandport behind him, you'll just have to use your contacts there and search him out the old-fashioned way. Again, alive if possible, but don't hesitate to kill him if you have to.
Aaron, quick question on rules.
What?
For the sake of skill checks.
Yeah.
Can I do a take 15?
No.
15 minutes for an automatic 15 on the roll?
No.
Okay.
I generally don't like the take 10 stuff. I'll allow people to take 10, but no, there's no taking 20 or taking 15 or anything like that.
Okay.
And even then, that's honestly more than I like to do.
Okay, so we're first. Were we going to his personal quarters, his sister's quarters, or the site?
I thought the
There
plan was
may
to-
be something to glean from his personal quarters as well. Keep that in mind. He may have been in such a hurry. He may not have destroyed all of the notes.
They were pretty thorough. You get that impression from Irvelen. They searched his quarters pretty thoroughly. Because that's the obvious place for them to look for information.
I say that's a call for Cord, because he knows his craft best.
Yeah, so we should probably head down to the site and see if I can do a little searching.
That's what I would think, yeah. If they've gone over his stuff, I mean, they know what they're doing.
Okay. So she gives you directions to this storage, this vault. It's not too far away. It's probably about a 20-minute walk if you make your way straight over there. It's a hole in the wall, or at least that's the way it appears from the outside. It looks like it's been attacked, even from the outside. The door has been torn off the hinges. There are more of the inconspicuous guards hanging around, keeping an eye on anybody who looks a little too closely at what happened there. But you guys can head right in which case there are very conspicuous guards waiting for you. And at which point they ask to know who you are and why you are there.
Well, we just step forward and let them know that we've come at the behest of Melian Irvelin.
Irvelin. The ear indicates that it's nobility. And they look at each other and nod at you and say, "Well, we weren't expecting you, but if you say you're with Velen, go ahead and go inside. I'm not sure you guys are gonna find anything that we already didn't, but more power to you."
All right, so I guess I'm gonna just kind of walk in and kind of close my eyes in the middle of the room, and just kind of feel if I can just hear the humming of things that I would note to be artifice trinkets, things that would go unnoticed, and then start investigating around.
I would like to kind of look around as well, just to see if anything catches my my trained eye as odd.
Okay. Cord, give me an artifice archaeology check plus wisdom. Wraith, give me changeling infiltrator, also plus wisdom.
Can my mark be applied to this? Since I can detect
Yes,
all the things.
Actually, it can. Actually, your house agent can also be used as a skill for it.
I apologize, Aaron. You said plus what stat?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
So let me see. Are you going to actually use your mark, Britt?
No, my background's good for now. I'll keep my mark.
Yeah, go and roll your background, the House Madani agent, plus wisdom as well.
Oh,
Alright, not sure how this works, but
oh, that's the same thing. No wisdom.
I can change into an animal and sniff around.
I'm not seeing stuff come up.
Transfer.
No?
I see the description.
Oh, I see the command.
Yeah,
I
slash me for that instead of the dice.
Oh yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Alright, so we got Wraith, we got Cord,
There we go.
we got Bree. Okay. So both Bree and Wraith, you're pretty sure that they've picked over this place pretty well. There's not a lot to go on here. Cord, you're kind of, since they store a lot of magical artifacts here, it's kind of messing with your ability to kind of hone in on anything that might be odd.
Yeah.
That might be out of place. But Wraith and Bree, you poke around and you really just don't find anything. I mean, it's not that you've failed in your search. There's just nothing else to find. There are indications of a fight. There are blood splatters all over the place. You find that that Lucan apparently tore open at least 3 boxes to get the items that he took. From what you can tell, it looks like he was looking for at least one specific thing. And he finally found it likely in that 3rd box. But there's no way to tell what it might be.
But they were. It looks very specific then. So.
Yeah. The fact that he didn't break open more boxes and that he was apparently very methodical in how he was breaking them open indicates that whatever he was looking for was in that 3rd box.
Is there any? Are these broken into sections? Like, did they house specific items in this location and this location, or
no?
So on?
No, the organization is not what it should be.
Okay.
In an ideal world, it would be like that, but it was the organization was a bit haphazard because they were very behind in their categorization and their investigation of these particular items. Bless you.
That's going to be a common refrain, just so you know.
So yeah, the organization was very haphazard. You don't know beyond the list that you know were taken. There could be other items missing.
Something's come to mind though, and I'll share this with everyone. Notice that it appears he was looking for something specific, and he found it fairly quickly. None of this is organized. So how did he know where to even begin to look? Does he have an inside in here?
Well, he does. He is a member of the King's Swords, and he was associated with the Lanterns. So it's very likely he's been in this place before.
Okay.
Give me... Eddie, give me a Changeling Infiltrator plus Intelligence roll.
Alright. 4.
You think after a few minutes thinking about that, about whether he has an inn or whether he's been here before, you think that most places like this have a sign-in book so they know who's coming and who's going. And after a little poking around in the debris of the what you assume used to be the front desk, you find a ledger where people would sign in to enter the facility. And flipping back to the last few pages, you see that he's been here on more than one occasion, including at least one time between last night and when he disappeared 2 weeks ago.
He did what now?
He's been here in the last 2 weeks.
In the last 2 weeks?
In the last 2 weeks. He disappeared about 2 weeks ago, and he's been in this facility once since then.
Okay, so I'll bring that up. He'd gone off the grid 2 weeks ago, yet in that 2 weeks he's signed in here. He's come here and signed into the logbook.
Keep in mind that he's disappeared before. This is not unusual. What did he come in to see? Do they document what they take or what they look at?
No, there are no indications that he took anything back then. That would have been, he would have had to sign out anything had he taken it with him, and nothing like that was signed out. Unfortunately, none of the people who were there the last time Lucan was there are among the survivors of when he attacked last night.
So the people that were there before were the same people that he killed when he was there this morning?
Yes.
So he killed the witnesses?
Yes, that's the appearance. There were only two survivors from last night, and they had both hid themselves. So it's very likely that Lucan didn't even know they were there, or, on the other hand, he might have needed to leave before he could finish them off.
So are the same people guarding things at the same time? I mean, is there a rotation?
There tends to be a schedule. So he would have had a reasonably educated guess on who would be there when. And it wouldn't be perfect, but he would have a good idea.
Have we covered the whole he might be under duress thing? If he's leaving people alive? Some people? Being forced to do this by somebody else?
You haven't asked it, but it's certainly a possibility to your mind.
I've been waiting for my interview to get to that question.
Ah.
Because I figure if there's two people that are going to know whether or not he's been under duress recently, probably his best friends.
Unless it's threats to them, then they probably wouldn't know. I think we should keep it in mind as a possibility.
Yes, definitely.
It's definitely a possibility that you're aware of. He could have been magically charmed. He could have been coerced in some way, especially considering how close he was with his sister. She could be involved in some manner.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something where this is not his usual style.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions or business here?
Probably nothing else to be gleaned from here. We've all done our investigating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys gonna go ahead to the stables? Or are you gonna do something else?
I'm good to go to the stables.
Does anybody need to pick up anything? Do we need to buy anything or purchase anything? Are we packed and ready to go?
I'm gonna collect my
Pretty
normal
cool.
effects, my armor and such, but other than that, just my normal things.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you guys head down the stables. You tell the stable master that that Irvalen has set aside some horses for you. And as you're getting those ready, you're approached by a couple of human men, and they're kind of hesitant or anxious. But they head up to, let's see, who are they likely to head up to? Which one of you looks the most like?
I am probably the least scary of the
Humans.
human.
I was gonna say I'm like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Pixie and I are pretty cute. We're harmless.
Most intimidating may honestly be Cord. I try not to look intimidating.
My
Okay.
gigantic hand, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably going to go to Zhuande.
Well, I have a limp.
You have a limp?
Yeah, I received an injury when I was in the military. I've got a limp.
Okay. So they're going to go up to you and kind of look back and forth and see if anybody's looking, listening in and say, we were sent by the Irvalen. Are you who we're supposed to talk to?
Oh, hi there. Would you mind stepping inside with me for just a moment?
Well, yeah, that's fine. And he actually says, she sent something with us to give you, and he hands you a pack that a quick glance inside indicates that there are, looks like there's some magical items, potions and the like in there.
I think I'll go ahead and give these off to my associate here for just a moment. I hand them over to Cord, who I suppose will know best what's in there and be able to identify it most readily.
Yep. All right. So I'll go into what's in the bag here in a sec. We'll do that.
Could have an itemized list because that's the way the government works.
There actually is an itemized list. You'll be able to see it in the journal.
It's up in journals now.
In triplicate, signed
I'm
and
going to use
sealed.
that a lot more. I'm going to use the journal and the handouts more often. So it's not a bad idea to look in there every so often.
Ooh.
Anyway, Zhuande.
All right, I lead them in. I request one of them to. Well, is there seating in this stable? Like, is there a place where I can leave one of them to sit while I take the other one off a short distance?
Probably. You can. There are some empty stables, stalls, I should probably say, and there are some stools that you can have them sit in while you go to another empty one.
All right. I gesture at one of them. Please, have a seat. Take a load off. Don't worry. I'm going to be right back. I need to go talk to your friend here in private for just a moment, okay?
I guess.
I take the other one over several stalls down to where I'm fairly certain we won't be able to be heard. And I offer him a seat as well. Trying to be very nice, be very genial, not wanting to alarm them at all.
He says, look, I don't mean to, be rude or anything, but what's this all about? We were told to come down here, and that's kind of weird, I'm guessing you're with the Citadel from the way this is all shaken out, but
Well,
so what's going on?
I am from the Citadel. I'm something of a. I more or less do the same job that one of your friends does, Lucan.
Oh yeah, Lucan. Wait a minute. So you're counter intel then, huh?
Well, that's my specific job. Now, our team over here, we do odd jobs for the Citadel. We're kind of a specialized group, not terribly important at the moment. Lucan has been missing. How much do you know about that?
Missing. Well, I mean, he kind of that's the nature of the work. Sometimes he does, right? He's one of the swords, so sometimes he'll go missing for a while if he's working on something specific. Sometimes he's just in Rote or Valenport, but sometimes he's just working undercover. So,
Okay.
it's kind of normal, you know.
Well, right now his absence is a little bit less than normal, so I'm just kind of wanting to get a baseline for him as a person from you, if I could.
All right. So, what do you want to know?
All right. This next bit might be a little bit odd, but it's just to help my memory some. I would like to take this opportunity to enter my Serenity state.
Okay.
I tell him, don't worry, the floaty, buzzy bit, that's kind of normal. It's something I do to be able to help me gather information and keep it, discern the nuances of things. It's part of what I do.
Okay.
I'm going to be asking him a few questions, things about who Lucan was as a person, whether he was tidy, whether he was messy, his eating habits, his general personal care, his habits with social environments, how often he went out, whether or not he would come to the company Christmas party, those kinds of questions, just trying to get a basic feel for him as an individual. The entire time, I'm going to try to be prodding at his mind ever so gently with my speak your mind talent to not necessarily garner extra information, but find out whether or not he's telling the truth and how much he may or may not be holding back.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a counterintelligence agent roll. Plus intelligence.
You gotta be going after my lowest one
Plus
all the time. Always going after the lowest.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't have mattered.
No, it wouldn't. You should have added 2 to it anyway. But again, that doesn't matter.
Why 2?
For the serenity, for the fact that you're probing his brain.
Oh, okay.
So you ask him all these questions. He's answering some of the questions. He's looking at you like, why the hell do you need to know this? That kind of weird. But he answers everything. Nothing pegs on your end that he's holding back or lying or anything like that.
Okay, final question for you. When he would generally travel, and quite specifically I'm thinking on the job, would he be the kind of person that would want to get there more quickly, or would he cover his tracks?
Just get there quickly, as far as I know. I mean, he was one of the swords. It's not like or anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Wait here for just a moment. I'd like to go confer with your associate as well.
Yeah, no, I know how this works.
I figured you did. You don't seem like you're a fool. Alright, so I go over and repeat the process with his friend.
Okay.
Same basic types of questions. This time I am looking for differences in answer. Asking the questions out of order. I'm trying to find discrepancies.
Yes. I know how this works too. So just go ahead and make your roll.
Okay. So that's 2 plus 1 plus 2. A little bit better.
There aren't indications he's holding anything back. Everything seems to be in order. I mean, he doesn't know a lot, but that appears to be because of the nature of the job, that Lucan didn't exactly tell everything. So that the gaps in his knowledge seem natural.
Okay. And I ask him the same final question. When Lucan would travel, especially on the job, would he typically try to hide his tracks, or would he try to move more quickly to be able to evade?
Hey, I don't know. I've never traveled with him before. I could be either way, I guess.
All right, thank you very much. I go and fetch his other friend. I walk them out, thank them again for their time, and tell them that their service has been greatly appreciated.
All right, thanks, I guess.
No, I wanted one.
Oh.
So,
All right, so I think you all looked at the equipment. Let's go over it real quick. So you all got false traveling papers. You got some cash money. You've got a Kundrak letter of credit. You know that you shouldn't dip into this unless you have to, because the bureaucracy will be a bitch later to deal with. You got healing potions, log burst powder, potion of spider climb, scroll of alarm, and scroll of light. Those are they emulate wizard cantrips. Bottle of smoke and lens of reading are under their wondrous items. Rope of entanglement will be there when I remember actually to write it up, which I meant to do today, but I forgot because I was doing other stuff. But the short of it is, it's you can tell that it's intended. If you're going to bring him back alive, you're going to need something likely more than regular rope to keep a member of the Swords who has associations with the Lanterns secure, and this is intended to be that. So, any other questions about any of it?
Negative.
All right. That's pretty much it. So, is there anything else you guys want to do before you leave town?
I have nothing. My action item list is empty.
Okay. Anybody else?
anything that we need to do? No. I didn't really catch it. Is Shwandi going to share with the rest of the crowd what he learned or what impressions he got?
I just share with everybody. I got some information about him as an individual. Most of it mundane information that probably won't be of any use until we actually start to track him. And only then will be of use if we start to, if he is, well, it will only truly be of use if he is still his own man. If he is under duress of one variety or another, this information will come in handy because it will show in his deviations from his normal standards. There are habits that he had. There are ways that he lived his life that make sense for his character, and if we see deviation from that, it means that something is amiss.
Share it with the rest of us, or are we going to guess?
That is the conclusion.
And never mind.
Okay.
I mean,
what things did you learn? I mean, what should we be looking for? I mean, do we not need to know now? Or are you keeping that to yourself?
Not terribly important right now. Also, Aaron, do you care if I make those assumptions myself, or?
Some of it's listed. He's under the NPCs, under characters on the wiki. I wrote about it.
If I have specific questions later, I can ask and I can share with the group as is need.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But some of the information is there. You can look at it later. You can assume that it's being shared with you. We'll determine some of it then, if we need to, I suppose. It's not the stone alarm.
So it's different from the stone?
Yeah, scroll up to the. I posted the exact stuff from the rule book.
Yeah,
so if you scroll up to my post, to the top post under Aaron, it says alarm and it gives the duration and it tells you what the cantrip does, and then it says light standard duration tells you what the cantrip does.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're basically wizard cantrips in scroll form. That's all they are. All right. Let's see. How late can everybody go tonight?
I'm sick.
I'm sick.
4:45 a.m. commute.
Ouch.
Okay, so probably not that late. All right, we'll do a little bit more and then we'll stop a little early tonight.
Okay.
I would like to do more, but I'll err on the side of not going too late. Okay, so you guys get on your horses, your pony, your corgi, and start riding out. You're not riding a clawfoot. You are too big to ride on a velociraptor.
Come on.
I'm not.
No,
that a Utah raptor.
The gnome can ride a clawfoot, but you're not. You're getting. All right, so you guys head out, and I'm gonna switch maps on you so we can do the overview. If you scroll down, my token is where Sharn is. If you go to the east, almost directly to the east, you'll find.
Are they following the road?
They are, to your knowledge, they are following the road. They were sighted at First Tower, following the Eastern Trade Road, which is the one that goes south along the coast.
Okay.
Not the one that goes up through roads and around.
Right. But they were just spotted at the tower, which the tower is at the
Yeah,
crossroads.
they were spotted at First Tower, which is kind of like a suburb of Charm, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's right at the crossroads of that major trade route.
Yeah, pretty much. The reddish brown line is a road. It's a trade route. The orange one is a it's a lightning rail route.
It's the monorail.
Monorail.
No, monorail.
And we all thought the same thing. The episode of The Simpsons.
Had to do it.
Okay.
Never mind.
So you are at this point roughly 12 hours behind.
Sure.
By the time you get everything settled, you get your horses ready to go, and you get riding, you're roughly 12 hours behind.
But they were traveling by coach.
They were traveling by coach, yes. After asking around, you learned that it was a 4-horse coach. There was a woman, a red-headed woman, who was driving, and that the interior of the coach, all the curtains were drawn, so there was no way to see who was inside for sure.
Do we know what the sister looks like?
You know she's a redhead.
She is a
Because
redhead.
Lucan is also a redhead, so it's not a stretch to assume it was her, especially considering that she has disappeared as well.
Really wish I had more information about her.
Well, if you'd invited one of us along, we could give you ideas. But no.
You had opportunities.
Anyway,
I say we stick to the road and try to catch them before they get there, especially since we should be moving faster than they.
I agree with that.
You say it takes about 10 days to get there?
takes about 10 days.
Would there be a ferry to cross that stretch of water there, or would they have to go all the way up and back down again?
No, they would have to go up.
Would we be able to cross?
There wouldn't necessarily be a ferry.
Would we be able to cross
It's unlikely, no.
the river?
No. No. That is... There's a reason why the port itself is deeper in, because it's not the sort of terrain along along the Red Cliff Bay that is suitable for boats of any sort.
I was wondering also about Tanthus or Xanthus. Would there be a crossing at the river there?
Where is Xanthus?
T-Z-A-N-T-H.
Oh, I see it. It's possible, yeah.
Okay. Well, for the meantime, I say we hit the road and try to catch up. Do we have possibility of exchanging horses along the route?
Yes, you'll be able to do that. Probably not every day, but you'll be able to do it every so often.
So we can set a pretty steady pace. Well, we still so not every day. So it's not like every day we get to change the horses out.
That's the idea anyway. That's that's what you want to do. Unfortunately, once you get underway, you realize that Lucan is already doing the same thing. So he is trading out his horses for fresh horses as well. So in a lot of cases, you are having to slow down because the fresh horses you are expecting are not actually there. They're being taken by Lucan, who's ahead of you.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
So you're not able to. You get into the first significant town where you think you would be able to exchange your horses at a stable or something like that, and you find that pretty much Lucan has beat you to the punch. You're still able to do it, but you're not able to do it quite as often. Like, you can do it in Zilspar, you can do it in some of the bigger towns, but in the smaller towns where they probably don't have a lot of spare horses just sitting around, you get into town and find out that the horses you were hoping to trade have already been worn out, that Lucan has already done it for you. So he is able to keep, by your reckoning, roughly a 10 to 12 hour lead, despite the fact that you probably should be catching up on him. The fact that you're not able to switch out your horses as often as he is keeps him ahead of you just a bit. You are able to, but in asking about exchanging your horses, you're sure that you're still behind him, that he hasn't veered off the road or gone anywhere else. You're still definitely on his tail. You haven't learned any more about what they're doing or anything like that. Nobody has seen anybody who's inside the coach.
Okay, so they stay in the coach.
Yeah, Lucan for sure has not been sighted, but the person you think his sister is, his sister's name's Grishala.
Has anyone else been sighted, like around the coach or involved with the coach?
Just those two.
I'm sorry, just those two whom? Just the sister and...
No, I'm sorry. Just his sister has been seen, and assuming that Lucan is there, which you kind of have to at this point.
Well, who's driving?
Those are the only two there.
Just the driver?
Right. Yeah, well, no, Grishala is the driver. His sister is driving.
Oh, she is driving. Okay.
Yeah, she's actually the one driving. So you guys are riding for the better parts of 9 days when you catch a break. You get to Xanthus and realize that Lucan wasn't able to switch out his horses. Nobody in town has had any horses available. There's been a sickness going around, and so Lucan wasn't able to switch out his horses. Unfortunately, neither are you, but you are faster anyway, since you're not limited to the coach. And roughly dusk on the night of the 10th day, as you're nearing Trollandport, you're probably another day out from Trollandport at this point, you catch sight of a coach ahead of you. And from everything you've heard, and from the flaming shock of red hair from the driver, it appears that you finally caught up to Lucan. And we will start there next time.
Cliffhanger.
Cool.
Yes, I hoped to get to this tonight, but you guys did a little more investigation than I thought. But that's okay. That's fine. So, but since a fight is likely to take a little while, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there, because otherwise we'd probably be going for at least another hour, hour and a half.
What time do you
So, yeah,
normally
we'll
plan
go-
on going till?
Normally, I'm planning on going. I'd go for another hour from here. But since this is the first fight with characters that none of you have used before, with macros that you might need tweaking or changing, it's going to take longer than it normally would for this fight.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. So we will stop there. I'm going to end the broadcast, and then we will do our post-game stuff. So everybody say goodbye to our viewers.
Bye, viewers.
Bye, everybody.